Hi guys, it's Steffi from the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to do my reading wrap up for the week of the 12th to the 18th of November. This week I was participating in Booknerdathon, so pretty much the majority of the books I read was for that readathon, which finishes on Sunday. And I did actually complete all of my challenges and I'm going straight into tome topple books from now, basically. So I've got 2 weeks to read a lot of big books. This week I read 5 books, 4 of which were for the readathon. I read a total of 1,779 pages. The first book I'm actually not going to talk about very much in this particular video. I'm going to feature my review in next week's wrap-up video because the book hasn't been released yet, but I do want to show you that I have read it, and that is Unearthed by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This is the first book in the Unearthed series. This was sent to me for review by Allen and Unwin, so thank you very much to them. It is a new release. It comes out, I believe, early next week, and I'm going to the book launch for it, and I gave it 3.75 out of 5 stars. The second book that I read this week was Staggs by M.A. Bennett. This book was something that I won in a Facebook giveaway. It is a 2017 release from Hotkey, and Allen Unwin is marketing it here in Australia, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Staggs stands for St Aidan the Great School, and our main character Greer has just won a scholarship into this very prestigious private school that has a long history of the rich and famous attending it. She's one of the outsiders at the school, coming from very little money and having no other connections. However, one weekend she is invited by the most popular group at school to attend a special event at one of their houses in the middle of the country. It's supposed to be a weekend of hunting, shooting and fishing, and then strange things begin to happen and Greer begins to question whether everything is as it seems. This was a really interesting book. It reminded me very much of The Graces by Laura Eve. They're both about very popular groups of kids at school who have this mysterious aura around them where people just want to be like them. In this story, it happens to be the Medievals, which are the group of very popular kids. There are 6 of them, and everyone is just enamored by them. And you have this deep sense of foreboding the whole way through the story. The main character, Greer, narrates the story, so it's told in first person, and we're told at the very beginning that someone has been murdered and that she feels responsible for it, but we don't know who, we don't know what, and we don't know how. So the whole way through it, we're just reading the narrator recount what actually happened and how events panned out. And there are definitely some creepy thriller elements to this book, and I'm sort of glad I didn't go to Staggs. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was a good read. The next 2 books that I read were Unearthly and Hallowed, both by Cynthia Han. These are books 1 and 2 in the Unearthly series. They were published in 2011 and 2012 respectively by HarperCollins, and I gave them both 4 out of 5 stars. Oh my goodness, I finally found some angel books that I really enjoyed. Clara is an angel blood, and she has known about that for a while, and it's really nice not to have to go through the, oh my goodness, what am I sort of trope that comes up in YA fiction a lot. However, what she isn't aware of is what her purpose is, and each angel blood has a purpose that they fulfill within their very long lifetime. When she starts receiving visions about what her purpose is, her family packs up and moves from California to Wyoming, and there she begins to track down who this mysterious person in her vision is. And she discovers that it is a very popular boy at school named Christian. And while she knows that Christian is part of her purpose and that she should be entirely focused on him, she begins to discover that she has feelings for another classmate named Tucker, and she's not entirely sure what to do about those conflicting emotions. Everything sort of comes to a head, and as Clara is learning more about her angel heritage, she's also learning more about the different forces within the heavenly world. So you've got angels, and you also have those angels that have fallen the black wings, and there's a really interesting story that begins in this book and continues in Hallowed, so you get more information in the second book. And I'm not going to give the summary for this one because you sort of have to read the first book. However, what I can say is that I really enjoyed both the books. I really enjoyed the angel storyline. It's a little bit different to what I would normally read about, particularly with the children of angels, so Nephilim, but they don't call them that in this particular book. They refer to them as the angel bloods, and they have special abilities that are really dependent on how much angel blood they have in their system. I also really liked Clara's relationship with Tucker. That was just adorable and sweet, and Tucker is a precious cinnamon roll who I absolutely adore. And I don't know, I never really warmed to Christian, but you see really how complex their relationships are moving from the first to the second book, and I'm actually really intrigued to pick up the third book and see what happens. and see whether those feelings change at all. It was fun, it was intense, and I really enjoyed them. And the last book that I read probably needs no discussion whatsoever. It is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It was originally published in 1997. This edition was published in 2014 by Bloomsbury, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And before anyone lynches me for not giving it 5 out of 5 stars, what can I say? I first read this book probably back in the early 2000s. Actually, I read it the year that Goblet of Fire came out because yes, that's my Harry Potter story, starting with the 4th book, then going back and reading the previous books. And I enjoyed it. And I did enjoy it rereading it. It is very easy to read, it's fun, it's adventurous, but there are things in it that really bother me. I know people are going to go, oh, but it's just fantasy. Oh, it's just this. Guys, the representation of some teachers in this book, aka Snape, really pisses me off. No offense to anyone who thinks, oh, well, he's a misunderstood character, da da da. You work with children, you do not get to play favorites in the classroom so blatantly. I'm sorry. He works with children in a school, in a position of trust, and he treats Harry like crap. And I don't care who you are, but that is not good representation of teachers. It is insulting, and that frustrates the heck out of me. Everything else I can deal with, but that I think is horrific because yes, there are bad teachers out there, but those teachers don't last in the profession for very long. And that was not okay because everyone was making excuses for it, and I don't care. I don't care if he hates Harry's parents. I don't care. It was no excuse. And yes, while I haven't finished the series and I don't know there's a redemption arc and all that sort of thing, no, not okay. So that gets a full star knocked off it because maybe as a kid you don't notice that, but as an adult, as a teacher, that really frustrates me. What was really interesting was because I read this as a young teenager and then I'm reading it now as an adult and everyone raves about it now. I was expecting to find really interesting and thought-provoking quotes and things the whole way through the book, and honestly they only happen in the last bit of the book. They're all from Dumbledore, they're not from any other characters, so that was a little bit disappointing as well. However, it is a kids middle grade novel and I'm rereading it, and I'm rereading it to see what I think now as an adult. So it's good and I can see why kids like it, but is it going to be my favorite fantasy series? I don't think so. I think it's just going to be one of those really fun, interesting kids books that has a great history of getting kids to read, and I think that's fantastic, but it is not without its problems, and I think that I don't think that gets addressed very much at all. So yes, I liked it and I will be continuing my reread of this series slowly, but don't expect me to rave about it if I see problems with it. And I know that I'm going to have massive issues with the teaching stuff and the teacher characters the whole way through. So yes, what can I say? So those are my books. Pretty happy with how I did this week. Let me know in the comments what you read this week. What stood out to you? Did you have any particular favorites? I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're having a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.